Hello, my beautiful people. It's your boy Dixon here. Today, I want to react to ICE raids immigration court arrest every single migrant. Let's get to it.
You're getting an exclusive look at the Trump administration's latest immigration crackdown. For the third day in a row, people are showing up to their scheduled hearings at immigration court, and they were taken away in handcuffs.
So, all across the country,
Right?
ICE agents are using new tactics never before seen in America. Outraging activists who claim ICE isn't playing fair, using loopholes to arrest those fighting their immigration charges in court, even though everyone being arrested was already in America illegally and should have been deported the moment they crossed our border.
Masked agents detained people leaving Phoenix Immigration Court for a second day. Protesters pushing, shoving, and even blocking the van.
They're holding signs saying, "Don't talk without a lawyer, stay silent, don't sign anything." Also, you can see some agents, undercover agents, standing, keeping watch in this parking garage over here.
This is all part of a major shift in ICE tactics to deport people who are in the country illegally. Now, once their case is dismissed, they immediately lose their temporary protection to be in the U.S. They walk out of the courtroom, and that's where ICE agents are standing by to arrest them and to take them away right on the spot.
They were here doing what they're supposed to do.
Am I missing something,
immigration
or
court,
what is
and
going
were
on?
Arrested by ICE.
Unfortunately, as soon as he stepped out of the waiting room, they detained him right away.
We do know a lot of these asylum claims are phony. I mean, it's just a
But
fact.
they're in court. Are we not supposed to wait for the court
So
ruling?
activists are losing their minds that ICE is deporting people who aren't supposed to be in America. But what nobody complaining about this will admit is that everyone now being deported was only here because of a loophole created by America's last president, which allowed them to live here under a special protected status anyone could acquire after walking across the border and turning themselves in, at which point they'd be given a court date for their offense and told they could stay in America while waiting for their day in front of a judge. But now immigration judges are dropping these cases, which means the temporary protections associated with these cases that may have allowed people to stay in America indefinitely are also dropped. And proponents say this special status
So
was
the
given
immigration
to
court is
individuals
dropping the
through an
charges
illegal
against
loophole
those
in the
illegal
first place, almost as a
migrants.
reward for sneaking into America, where they'd get de facto legal status while waiting to go to court, and then, with the help of activists, fight for the right to stay here forever. Which brings us to the real reason activists are so upset about these courthouse raids. These courts were supposed to be a free ticket to life in America for people who never should have been here in the first place.
Yeah,
But with
I agree
judges
with you.
dismissing charges, entering one of these
So if
courthouses
the court
could
is
now be a
dropping
free
the
ticket back to one's home
charges,
country. And now ICE, the most understaffed government
I
agency
don't
that
understand that point.
actually serves the public interest, has to make a choice.
Is it
How do
making
they
their work
use
easy
their
to
meager
live in the
resources,
US, or
which amount to around
what is going on?
6,000 officers who can even carry out deportations to begin with, in a safe manner that does not endanger the general public like
Let's wait.
this?
When his legal status was questioned, he took off.
Come on out! Get out here right now! I see your hands! Come on out!
He was caught hiding in a nearby neighborhood shed. He was previously convicted for unlawful possession of a firearm and assaulting an officer.
That guy was dangerous, and he was taken down in a
Unlawfully
residential neighborhood
possession
on
of
someone
firearm
else's
and assaulting an
property
officer.
in a
And
public
you are
setting that could have gone
migrant,
seriously bad,
illegal.
putting officers, the
What the
fugitive,
fuck is
and
going on,
everyone
man?
around in danger, revealing that it would be great if there were some way
Why don't
ICE
we just
could peacefully
stay cool?
detain
Stay
dangerous
cool,
individuals without
man.
having to chase them down and put people at risk. Well, as you're about to see, there is, but instead of being happy about it, activists are very upset, almost as if they want people to fight it out with ICE.
We know that several people were arrested by ICE inside this courthouse earlier today. And again, we were here to see two of those arrests in person. Here's the exclusive video that we're talking about. I want to explain how this tactic works. This is on the orders of the Department of Homeland Security. Many immigrants who entered illegally, again, within the last 2 years, they're having their cases dismissed when they show up to their scheduled hearings. Now, once their case is dismissed, they immediately lose their temporary protection to be in the U.S. They walk out of the courtroom, and that's where ICE agents are standing by to arrest them and to take them away right on the spot. And as
Okay,
we mentioned, this has
okay.
been going on here in Dallas
So
and
when
across the
your
country
case is
in major
dismissed,
cities.
you
Miami
lose
was
the
added to that
temporary
list earlier today.
So this
whatever
tactic, it's not just
to make you
happening
stay in
in one
US.
specific courthouse in one part of the
Okay,
country.
okay,
This
okay.
seems to be happening nationwide at courthouses pretty much everywhere. And here's why this is such a smart idea on ICE's behalf. If somebody's in court, a federal courthouse, they can't go in there with a firearm. They're wearing a suit. They're trying to be on their best behavior. They're not looking to get confrontational or aggressive with law enforcement, which makes a courthouse one of the safest locations ICE could even conduct this type of arrest. You don't have people running, fleeing, or fighting, or going after officers, or driving like madmen in some car down the street. No, none of that. These arrests are nonviolent, safe, and peaceful, except for the peaceful protesters.
When agents would emerge from that building, protesters would shout a lot of things, including no more ICE, no more ICE,
No.
many other things. It got really tense at times as they would surround
Are the
an
protesters
unmarked van
against the
that
ICE, or
masked ICE agents would be bringing these
they are
detained
collaborating with the
people to. It led to
migrants?
pushing and shoving on both sides at different points. This repeated itself a second time as well as ICE agents went back up to detain more people. This all started yesterday with what
it just occurred to me. The ICE agents involved in this, they are not getting aggressive or confrontational. And the people they're arresting, they're not getting aggressive or
They are
confrontational
cool.
either. The only aggression and confrontation is coming from these
protesters,
protesters. If
yeah.
they weren't there, nothing would be happening. Yet
Yeah,
these
yeah,
activists
yeah.
think they're helping people when they actually aren't. They're just increasing the danger level for everyone
The eyes are
involved.
cool.
If they truly cared about the
The
people
guys who are
being
being
arrested,
arrested,
they
they're
wouldn't
just
be
cool.
here putting those people
Well,
in
I think that
danger
is
with their
good. They
actions.
just need
And
to
what are they
comply
even
and
upset about? Everyone being
wait to see
arrested
what
does
will
not have
happen.
legal permission to even be in the country. It's that simple. And even though this is happening at a courthouse, with the background of due process, protesters are furious. But to understand why, it's important to look at what exactly is going on here and why it works and is perfectly legal.
appears to be a change in legal strategy by prosecutors here, by the administration. ICE has not commented, but an immigration attorney told us that the feds are dismissing all of the pending cases, and by doing that, they have nothing in front of the court. So agents believe they have the authority then to go in and detain them as those people exit the courtroom.
They were here doing what they're supposed to do at immigration court and were arrested by ICE.
Unfortunately, as soon as he stepped out of the waiting room area of the court, right where the elevators are, there were several federal agents waiting to talk to him, and they detained him right away.
So you've got to understand, the people that are at this courthouse and the people that have these charges, they entered the country without permission, and the previous policies at the border were that when people did that, they would be allowed in, they would be given a court date, and they were allowed to stay here while that court date approached, instead of being blocked from entering the country and either immediately deported or at least turned around and sent back. And what this reveals is that the charges people are in court fighting were essentially a backdoor method of allowing them to just remain in the country with legal status, giving them temporary protections that include allowing people to apply for jobs and get a tax ID while waiting for their quote-unquote due process, which is why you're hearing so much screaming about that. The protesters are saying that folks aren't getting their due process, but proponents of these arrests are saying, look, these people shouldn't even be here to begin with. This whole due process thing has been a scam since day one because people should have been blocked from coming into the country originally.
Nick Suriel has practiced immigration law
Now
in Phoenix.
we are
saying
about
this
those
federal
guys who are
shift
already
goes
in the
against the
country
book of
illegal.
law.
This idea
I think
that there's
what the court
gray
is doing is very
in
clear.
whether or
They
not
have the
this is the
process.
law. There is no gray area. This is the law of the land.
The Immigration and Nationality Act has been in place since 1952 in the U.S.
This is the law. People have to show up to court and present their cases. We should allow them to do so.
Yeah.
These are people complying, showing up for hearings. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? And
they are
so
not
that's
violent. They're
changed
just
now.
cool,
Yeah, and
showing
the
up to
reason
the court
it's changed
to
is
wait
because
for their
this
hearing.
whole process appears to have been fraudulently initiated. Yes, people are abiding by this process, but this process shouldn't be here in the first
No,
place because
no,
it
I
essentially
disagree with
allowed
that.
people to sneak into the
I
country, be
disagree.
given a
Those who
court
are already in
date, hit
country,
with charges, and then allowed to
let them
stay
follow
here
the law.
indefinitely. And
They
the
are going
hope of these
to the court.
activists
They are
was that
waiting for
all
their
of these
hearing.
new illegal residents
The
would
law is
fight their
there.
cases and get to stay
The
here
court will
for a
do
very
its
long
work.
time, possibly forever, while clogging up immigration
But now we
courts, which
should be
already
talking
have a
about
massive backlog. And now
curbing
the
those
reason that these activists are
loopholes
so
that makes
upset
those guys to
is
come
because
in.
the only way people can stay here
So as much as
legally
the
is
court
if
is
they go to court.
doing
And
the
now that
other
the cases are getting
side,
dropped and people are
trying
being
to
arrested, to
do
them
it
it looks like a
formally,
catch-22.
now we
This is
should
happening
have
when
a
you're showing
government
up
that is
at
trying
immigration
to
court.
close those loopholes
Do
so
you
that
show
those
up?
migrants should not come in.
And then if you don't show up, then you certainly could be deported.
Well,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
double-edged
If you don't
sword
show
there.
up
That's why it's an
to the
interesting
court,
legal
what happens?
strategy shift here that we have seen from the feds. I
You have a
heard
temporary
multiple people make that point to me today, is that this just creates a
stay
new
in
situation
US
where
now
people are
waiting
stopped.
for
The
your
people that are
hearing. What if you
following
don't
this
show up?
process, they believe in the
Now that
legal
is
way that they are
when you should be
required to,
deported.
supposed to,
But
doing
if you
it the
show
right
up, then
way.
the
So
court will
people
do
who
that. Okay,
illegally
you're not
entered the
supposed to be here
country
because
and
you're
were
here
given
illegally.
a court
Then you're supposed to be
appearance
deported.
through a
It's okay. Well
loophole.
and
These are
good because you're
actually people who
you're
believe
complying.
in the law, that there is no higher standard, and they just want to do everything the right way. You know,
These are the
when you
things the
watch some of
government
these
should
people
stop.
get
Look at this,
detained,
man.
they're not being violent.
Where
The
are the
only violence
police?
is coming from the protesters.
The
So
police will be
perhaps that is
deployed at that
true, but it
point
doesn't
where
look
these
like there's
guys are coming
anything to
in.
be upset about. This is how the legal system works. People are coming to court for charges that never should have been brought. Those charges allowed them to stay in the country. When the judge looks at this case and says, hey, this shouldn't have happened, this person shouldn't even be here, and they just dismiss the whole thing, and then that person gets deported, those are the rules, right? Why are people so upset? Obviously, we know the answer to that.
In the U.S. for more than 2 years can be deported without a court hearing.
It's just a total disregard by the government for due process rights.
On Truth Social last month, President Trump said it was not possible to give everyone a trial.
This is basically
because they are too
not
many.
given a chance to even say why they deserve to stay here, when we told them they would have a chance to make that case.
Immigration attorney Weitzel was in court with a client this week.
I saw the doors swing open, and there were ICE agents waiting there to pick them up and take them.
She doesn't think this will help with the backlog of 4 million cases, but she does think it will instill fear and stop people from showing up for court.
It's a lot. 4 million people, 4 million cases that are supposed to be heard by the court.
This isn't
It's
going
a
to help
lot.
at all, but it is her job
It will
to
take a lot
take
of
these
time,
kinds
you
of
know.
cases and defend these individuals, revealing a possible conflict of interest. But there's another way to look at this. The president just said it's not going to be possible to give everyone a trial.
yeah.
And with a backlog of 4 million immigration cases, he's right. But here's the thing. People having their cases dropped, who activists are saying deserve the chance to come here and talk about why they should be able to stay here, these are folks that already came into the country illegally and were fraudulently allowed to enter the court system. And what if you're an immigrant who's here and you've got a non-fraudulent immigration case? Where's your due process? How are you going to get it if the court is jammed full of cases that should be dismissed and dropped because they're frivolous or they only exist because of a loophole to begin with? Revealing that all of this activism actually restricts due process for people who are here legally.
We do know a lot of these asylum claims are phony. I mean, it's just a fact.
Absolutely. No, and that's very true as well. There's a process for that to figure that out. It looks like this is sort of a workaround, though, to get out of that.
Interesting.
Here's an interview on News Nation with Tom Homan, the border czar, and he says that over the last 10 years, 9 out of 10 of the people who are here claiming asylum will get an order of removal because they simply don't qualify for asylum. What they did is commit asylum fraud. And these activists who are so upset that their clients are doing things the quote-unquote legal way never mention that they're only doing that after coming in here and breaking our immigration laws. And they think a lawless president is deporting people when the reality is a lawless president created a system that allowed these folks to get in here to begin with. And this is a slap in the face to the millions of people standing in line, trying to get into the country correctly, paying their fees, doing background investigations, and all the stuff they're supposed to do. Those people, oh no, they have to stand aside while folks that shouldn't even be here are apparently allowed to do what? Stay in court forever and live here while that happens?
No, but I think there's a lot of court orders. There are a lot of cases to be heard. 4 million cases is a lot. To me, I just think something else must be done because as the court waits to hear all these 4 million cases, some of them are still coming into the United States of America. So it's something the government need to rethink and do something crazy.
These illegal aliens and expedited removal. So that's sort of their account of what's been going on.
So there you have it. America's laws were broken. People that just came here and should have been turned around and sent back, they're subject to expedited removal. But the activist crowd doesn't want that. They want anybody who enters the country to immediately receive a whole bunch of rights and have all kinds of access to our courts and the ability to legally stay here and work while these court cases play out, because what they secretly want is for mass migration. This is an open borders policy masquerading as complaints of injustice against people who deserve due process. What do you think about that? Is ICE doing the right thing? Are arresting people safely at a courthouse the best thing for the fugitive? And are the protesters the least
Yeah, I think the ICE is doing the right thing because
Let me know.
there's a
Thank
lot
you
of
so much
cases
for
that
watching.
they cannot
We'll see you
hear.
in the
4
next
million
video.
cases is a lot. So you cannot just hang around waiting for those guys to go to the court, and it's a lot. So the ICE is doing the good job, and I think the government is trying to help them because this guy in the first place they should not be there. They came to the country illegally, and so they should be out of it. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe. See you in the next video.